Wow, okay, so TNA Victory Road 2025 is a show I went into with very little expectations. Honestly, I wasn't even excited for the show, if I'm going to be completely real with you guys. But the show didn't blow me out of the water. But damn, what happened, all the surprises, and the quality of some of the matches, that's really what got me intrigued about this show when I watched it. So let's talk about it, and I guess the thing everybody wants to talk about is the situation with the Knockouts division and just the Knockouts title and what happened with that, so let's get into it. So pretty much the show opens with Ash by Elegance coming out to the ring and relinquishing the TNA Knockouts Championship. She isn't clear about what's happening, but she says that she has to step away from wrestling, doesn't give a timetable, doesn't give an injury or any update about what's going on in her life, just says that she can't wrestle anymore and she relinquishes the belt, which sucks. I don't know if it's an injury, then that really sucks for her because she's really improved over the last year and she was just finding her groove. And if it's something else, you know, I don't know what it is. I'm not going to speculate about her personal life, but it sucks. And it also sucks for TNA when the span of a week lost two of its top knockouts. You know, obviously Ash by Elegance tonight, and then Masha Slamovich with all her controversy, she's gone out the door. I don't think we're going to see her again anytime soon. So it really sucks for TNA. And then Santino obviously makes the announcement that tonight we're going to have a battle royal. After this segment, we're going to have a battle royal, and the two last remaining competitors will have a match later tonight to crown the new Knockouts champion. And it's a fun little battle royal where Yǐng and Kelani Jordan from NXT, my favorite women's wrestler in the world, are the last two standing. This leads to a pretty solid match later tonight where Kelani Jordan picks up the victory and is your new TNA Knockouts champion. Indi Hartwell is the special guest referee. They do confirm that Indi Hartwell still has her opportunity at Bound for Glory, so it seems like they're really saving her to become the new Knockouts champion at Bound for Glory. They really want to give it that Bound for Glory moment, which is fine. It's cool with me. I want to talk about Kelani Jordan, and a lot of people are upset with this, saying, you know, TNA just put their balls between their legs and ran off. I don't think so. Honestly, I think Kelani Jordan is way better than anyone TNA has at the moment. You know, sure, maybe I'm a bit biased. That could be it. Maybe you have a different opinion. That is also fine. But in my opinion, Kelani Jordan, at this moment, without Masha or Ash by Elegance, she's levels above everybody else in TNA right now. So it makes sense that they put the belt on a star. All I hope is that it's not a transitional reign. I really hope that it's not just a 2-3 week reign and she drops it at Bound for Glory, because I think there's actually a lot of potential with Kelani Jordan as the world champion. One, she's a babyface. Every other NXT wrestler that has held the TNA championships are heels. Trick Williams is a heel. JC Jane was a heel. Her character isn't exactly the type of girl I see adhering to the laws of this invasion. She doesn't seem like she's gonna go out and diss TNA wrestler. She seems like she's just gonna be a good fighting champion, and that could be a very interesting twist on this whole invasion angle. Along with that, she is sorta the storyline kind of matchup because she is a former protege of Ash by Elegance, so I hope on TNA we kind of see her talk with the by Elegance brand, get involved with them, see maybe a storyline builder. I think that could be interesting. Not necessarily join them, but kind of have an association with them, maybe unwillingly. And then last but not least, she hasn't really been doing too much on NXT the last few weeks. The last time we saw her, she had a few major victories, especially over Blake Monroe, but as of recently, she's not doing much, so she has the opportunity to kind of be a full-time TNA wrestler, and I really hope we see more of that. All in all, I'm quite excited for this reign. I know it's probably just a transitional reign, but if it's not, which I really hope it's not, I think we can do a lot with this. But with that out of the way, let's talk about what happened on the rest of the show. The next match was the Nemeth brothers, Nick and Ryan Nemeth, going up against Matt Cardona and his partner, the Hometown Man. Man, what have we done with the Hometown Man? When he first debuted, or when he got first repackaged as the Hometown Man, there was a lot of hype, at least from my part, behind him. I felt like the gimmick was fun and interesting and it won me over, and he had a few storylines, especially with Eric Young, going on that I was kind of intrigued to see, and then he just disappeared, and now he's seemingly just being used on every pay-per-view or special as just a surprise appearance, which I don't think works for his character. I don't think he's as big of a draw to kind of be this type of wrestler. But okay, Matt Cardona and the Hometown Man pick up the victory because the Hometown Man rolls up one of the Nemeth brothers, but afterwards they keep attacking him. They rip off his mask. Matt Cardona tries to save him, but he's unable to. This is all clearly leading to a Nick Nemeth and Matt Cardona match at Bound for Glory, which I'm quite excited for. I just feel like we need to add a story there, because Matt Cardona has primarily been feuding with Ryan Nemeth, and we need to build up his feud with Nick Nemeth. And with how little time we have, we really need to get that going, because while the match itself gets me quite excited, I'm not so sure. The next match, however, I was really interested in is Mike Santana versus Ridge Holland. Now, the last time I made a TNA video, I kind of dissed on Ridge Holland, and I want to apologize for that, because Now, over the last few weeks, Ridge Holland has won me over, and this match, it just seems like a nice fit, a nice match I wanted to see. Now, the thing going in was Ridge Holland was hired by Trick Williams to attack Santana, and if Ridge Holland defeated Santana or took him out, Ridge Holland would be awarded a TNA Championship match, which kind of made me want to see Ridge Holland win, simply because I'd be intrigued to see how that plays out, because if Ridge Holland beats Santana, no way Trick is going to give him a shot, because what the hell, he just beat Santana. But we all assumed that Santana was going to win, and he did. A pretty good match. Afterwards, he gets attacked by Trick Williams. At this point, we're just treading the same thing over and over again. Trick attacking Santana, Santana trying to get his revenge. We just need to get a Bound for Glory. And honestly, can I be honest with you? I love Santana. I think Santana is going to win. But a part of me kind of wants Trick Williams to retain. I've been really enjoying his reign. Not necessarily his stuff on TNA particularly, but him as champion, it's been very entertaining. I kind of want to see it continue. The next match is Mustafa Ali versus Moose, a singles match where the winner gets their team an advantage in the hardcore war match at Bound for Glory. Mustafa Ali picks up the victory over Moose after some cheating because none of the other members were allowed at ringside. But Mustafa Ali came out with a few girls, a few dancers who remained at ringside because they're not technically part of the Order 4, and one of them was secretly Tasha Steelz. They all distracted Moose, one of them, Tasha Steelz, low-blowed Moose, allowed Mustafa Ali to pick up a victory. A really solid match, really good match, I really enjoyed it, but this match just made me realize how much I want Moose and Mustafa Ali in the main event scene. Hopefully, whether it's Trick who wins or Santana who wins, we get to see Moose and Mustafa Ali both go into the main event scene, because arguably they're the two biggest stars on TNA, and I don't like how they're both stuck in this mid-card hell. They really need to be elevated to main event level. And then we also have Joe Henry versus Eric Yǐng. Joe Henry was attacked backstage earlier during the night, so Eric Yǐng comes out and says it's not him, but we all know it was him, and he says that, you know, it's gone. He's cleansed and nobody will ever see him again, and he says the name Joe Henry, and we all know this thing of Joe Henry where whenever you say his name he appears, so he comes out. And I'm surprised how over Joe Henry still is. I thought for a little while that they kind of ruined his momentum, but no, he's still over. The crowd still cares about him a lot. And he picks up the victory, but I'm wondering, where are we going with him? Like, what's his plans for Bound for Glory, and how... I thought this Eric Yǐng feud was the one that's gonna go to Bound for Glory. Apparently not. And we can't keep Joe Henry off of the card. That would be incredibly stupid to do. So what are our plans for him? Is he gonna face Eric Yǐng again, because he did get help from the Northern Army to win this match, which Joe Henry shouldn't need that help. But yeah, I'm confused with what we're doing with Joe Henry, because sometimes it feels like he's now permanently on NXT, or then he comes to TNA and we don't really know what to do with him. It's been a confusing run for a former world champion. The next match, which is a really interesting match, is Steve Maclin versus Frankie Kazarian for the International Championship. And wouldn't you believe it, Frankie Kazarian is your new International Champion in a decision I quite like. I feel like this is a championship that perfectly fits Frankie Kazarian. I feel like him having a championship finally, it's gonna open up so many opportunities. But what's also cool is Steve Maclin didn't lose clean, because El Mesías from AAA, he didn't interfere in the match, but he came to ringside, kind of distracted Steve Maclin, kind of got in his face, and that allowed Frankie Kazarian to pick up the victory. So we're probably going to get a Steve Maclin versus El Mesías feud at Bound for Glory, which I am hyped for. I think that's going to be sick. I feel like there's not much of a story there, which you guys know I care so much about story, but I feel like there's enough time to build it, and it's just going to be a slobber knocker of a match. And when it comes to Frankie Kazarian, man, it's going to be entertaining. Maybe he's gonna face Mr. Anderson at Bound for Glory for the TNA International Championship. I would love that. I don't know if Mr. Anderson is down for something like that. I would love that. And then in the main event, it's the X Division Championship, which I was surprised the X Division Championship main evented the show, but a banger of decision. And we get a banger of a match between Leon Slater and Myron Reed. Leon Slater ends up retaining, but damn, this was such a good match. You all know how high I am on Leon Slater. I have always continually said, as soon as his contract is up, he's going straight to NXT. Myron Reed is really impressive too. I've already bought so much stock in Myron Reed. So a banger of a match. Leon Slater retains the championship, which is good. But I think the most interesting thing after this was, after the match, Santino came out and announced that at Bound for Glory, Leon Slater will defend his championship against Javon Evans. Man, this is going to be such a banger of a match. You guys know how much I love Javon Evans too. I kind of hope they make an Ultimate X match, a one-on-one Ultimate X match. That would be such a banger, man. Bound for Glory, it's shaping up to be really good. And if I had to give tonight's show rating, I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10. All of the matches were good, all the matches were fine, particularly the knockout stuff. That really elevated the show for me, particularly because of how unpredictable it was. But I will say, I love a show with a lot of matches. I love a card, a pay-per-view with a lot of matches, if there's a story for it. WWE does it very badly because they have so little matches when they can have a lot more. Tonight's show, it felt like there were a few matches that really didn't need to be on the card. I mean, I give exception to all the knockout stuff, it makes sense, but Matt Hardy versus AJ Francis in the tables match didn't need to be here. The Nemes versus Cardona and the hometown man, you didn't really need this on the card. I just feel like there's a few matches tonight that, you could have moved out and the show would have felt a lot smoother. I don't care about matches when there's not a lot going for it. But that's my review for tonight. I hope you enjoyed Victory Road because surprisingly, I did too. So leave a like and subscribe. I cover TNA, NXT and Evolve every single week. So I hope to see you guys there. Goodbye everyone.